Good
Hello.
morning. How you going?
I'm good. How are you? I don't need to.
Good. Rise and shine for you, right?
Yeah, 8:30.
Oh, not too bad. I was
Yeah, no,
thinking
not too
more
bad.
like,
It was
yeah.
school holidays. The kids are at their grandparents, and so I have just been taking it slow in the mornings. I literally would have been ready about 6 minutes ago.
Oh, I've just
Good.
smashed a brownie, so it's totally fine. Whatever you got to do to get through, right?
Amazing. You'll have the sugar rush.
Yes. Well, I woke up at like 4:30 and then I was like, oh, well, I might as well get up. So I was plodding around doing stuff. And then I was
Mm-hmm.
like, what else can I do at 4:30 in the morning? Like my brain's not working effectively. Like it was just
Yep.
so anyway.
Well, yeah, how many weeks have you got to go?
5 weeks, mate. 5 freaking weeks.
Yes.
Mm. And I'm like excited, nervous, like, yeah.
Okay, I think that's fair. I think that's a very good combination.
Yeah. Well, I had a session with a lady today that I was talking to about it. And I have moments of like, yeah, this is really exciting. Then I go, holy shit, this is real. Like this is
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
it's gonna get really real.
yeah, but it's not like it's like part of me thinks that this is something that'll be like, oh, for the next couple of months, not like
Forever.
permanent. Yeah. So I just keep,
Oh, you. I don't get to send you back.
no, you're not
Damn.
just like a fun project that we play with and then like we're done. No, you
Yeah.
gotta
No.
look after this
No.
kid and keep it alive. So
Yes.
anyway,
Yeah.
let's get straight in. And
Let's
do you
get
know
straight
what?
in.
I'm really excited about this today because I feel like I sit on the fence a little bit, excuse me, with AI.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that because I think that
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that do that too. So
Yeah.
is that
Absolutely.
okay?
There are.
Yeah.
Yes. We can
All
talk
right.
about whatever you want. I know I gave you questions in that form, right? And then I'm like, I have no idea what I wrote, but that's okay.
No, well, I've also got other questions as well, but I think you and I will just flow anyway. Like
Yes.
we have great
100%.
chats. So
Exactly. And we just need
all
other people to listen.
yeah. But I
Mhm.
loved your podcast description thing and I was like, she's totally written this with AI. And then I get to the end, it's like, yes, I wrote
Yes.
this with AI. I was like, yes, I love it. I love it. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So welcome back to the Sales Show. Today we have the amazing MG coming in to talk all things AI and marketing. And as I was just saying before we kicked off, I'm one of those people that's on the fence with AI, and this is what I want to kind of get into today. So today we are going to peel back the curtain on how AI is flipping the marketing, and I would also say the sales world on its
Mhm.
head.
Yes.
So join us as we chat about the beautiful mastermind that MG has also created called the Biz Revolution, where she has implemented a lot of this AI and marketing stuff and helps other business owners roll this sort of stuff out into their business. So expect some craziness. We are both very passionate about what we do, and this is what I love about MG. So welcome to the show, Em.
Thank you so much for having me. I was like, where is she going to go with this? We are both,
We are
we,
both
we are both, we could
crazy.
insert a lot of adjectives there.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got to keep it clean. We've got to keep it clean.
Yeah.
But let's start off with how did you, because you've obviously been in marketing for a fair while,
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about your journey and how you've ended up with, like, in how you are today.
So, how I am today is combining the powers of marketing and AI. And that's actually relatively new because while AI is not new, a lot of people think it is, it's newly available to the public. I would not have known what that was 18 months ago. So, beginning of last year, if someone said AI, I would have said, what does that stand for? So, just making it clear, I'm not actually an expert in AI. I don't have a data science background, but what I have learned in the last 18 months with ADHD and just really like drilling down, hyper focusing into AI and getting excited about it is that it's possible for everyone to use now. And if I'm using it, then everyone can. But yeah, my background is marketing, my degree circa 2007, kind of pre-social media, but the
Yeah.
foundations of marketing, are still the same at the end of the day. You need to
Yeah.
know who the hell you're talking to, and you need to speak to them in a way that they're going to hear your message. and the, behavioral psychology, biopsychology, all that kind of stuff, it's still relatively the same. It's more the medium that has changed over time. And now this revolution of technology is changing everything in marketing. And you're right, sales. And I kind of feel like if you don't get on board with it, you are going to get left behind, but you need to get on board with it in the right way. So I know we're kind of segueing into that potentially, but believe it or not, I'm still the same as you. I'm on the fence with a lot of things
Oh,
around AI.
really?
Yes.
See, I feel like you are completely team AI, and I'm like, yep, I'm all for it. And I've watched a lot of the stuff that you've put out on social media and all that sort of stuff. And I think you do it in a really authentic, connection-based way, which is obviously what I'm all about. But what I see people do is they completely allow AI to run their business, to answer all their questions about their target market and their ideal clients, and they get AI to sell their stuff. And as soon as I read it, I think, ugh,
AI.
like that is rubbish, and it doesn't feel good, and it doesn't feel authentic. And so that's the part of me that goes, AI, not for me. But then when I see you do it the way that you do, I think, there's absolutely room to play in that space.
Yes.
I just don't know what that looks like or how to get it to that real, authentic, connected space. Using my voice and my knowledge and all of that in it.
And I think that is the issue right now, and will continue to be the issue the more people avoid using it, to be honest, is that right now, if it's not used well, it feels disconnected, because we read the word unlock and we go, oh, AI, as soon as you see the word unlock. Or one of the words that always seems to come up for with me is marketing maven. And I'm like, I would never say maven. Like, so yes, if you let AI do everything for you and you haven't set it up in a way that still injects humanness, it's going to feel clunky, and then you're going to lose trust. And both of us know trust is crucial in sales and marketing.
Absolutely.
And if you lose that, you will lose money, and that's a problem. You will lose faith. Your audience will be like, am I talking to you? Who am I talking to? Because there's no transparency. But I mean, to be honest, that's not actually the reason I'm on the fence with AI. The reason I'm on the fence with AI is more about like a big world issue, in the fact that right now we're in the messy middle of this huge technological change, and the potential of AI is quite scary. And I think a lot of people are concerned about that.
Yep.
Is that something you're concerned about? Is like the potential of what it could do long term?
And just the security side of it, the IP side of it.
Yes.
All of that is definitely something that plays on my mind. But it's also, at what stage do we lose our ability to communicate as ourselves? It's kind of like, back in the day when mobile phones came out, and, when you were 10 or 15 years old, you could remember your best mate's telephone number, and you could pick up the phone and dial it. Now, if someone said, what's your best mate's phone number? I don't know. You look it up on your phone. And so it's like that fear of, are we losing another skill set in our humanness? Yeah.
We're outsourcing a type of skill set. Absolutely. And it's a growing number of skill sets. So the way I look at this is that right now, the way AI is developing is through older white men in Silicon Valley. And if we don't do anything with it, it's still going to happen, because those people that are creating it are still going to create it, right?
Yep.
So my view is that what we need to do is use it, because the more people, everyday people, women, people from different ethnicities and cultures, different places around the world, the more we use it, the more we can level the playing field with it. Because when AI is being used, it's being trained as you use it. And so we need more, especially women, because 90% of the developers of AI are men. And so I'm very, very passionate about getting women to use it, not just because of that, but also because women are the ones that wear 5 billion hats
Yes, the
So
mental load is real. Absolutely.
we need the bots to help us, right? Like if we
Yeah.
can find ways to have it work authentically for us, because there are ways to do that if you know how to use it properly, but you will only know how to use it properly if you get on board. And I see the scary side of it, but I also see the really powerful side of it, leveling the playing field because it's now available to everyone. 50 years ago, because it's been around for 50 years,
Yeah.
50
Wow.
years ago, like I said, I didn't even know what it was. We didn't have
Yeah.
access to this. So now there are some places in, I know, New York City, there are organizations that are helping homeless people by training them with AI
Wow.
because anyone can access it. It's a lot of it's accessed for free at the moment.
Mhm.
I don't know how much longer that will last. I know realistically it's probably just because they want to get as much data as they can at the free level. But there's a point in time right now where that creates a lot of opportunity for anyone. Like you and I, we're privileged, right?
Absolutely.
And there's people that are a lot of people that are less privileged than us, but as long as you have access to the internet, and there are obviously people in the world that don't, you have access to AI. So there is an element of being able to level the playing field, and that's really what I think could be powerful with AI. And it's totally off the topic of marketing and sales, but I do think if you've got women listening to this, women, we're heart-centered, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
And we naturally have fears about things that could be detrimental to our children, to the world. And so understandably, there will be women not wanting to use AI in their business because there's that underlying, what does this mean for society? And I get that. Like I can
Yeah.
see why there is that fear there. And so that's why I guess I like to speak into that.
Yeah. I also find, as you touched on before, especially from a sales perspective, and when I've jumped into the AI space and gone, okay, cool, like give me some ideas um around how you would sell this. And I've actually typed it into, say, for example, Chat GPT or whatever. And it's come back and I'm like, it's so masculine and it's so close
Yes.
the deals and hustle this. And I'm just like,
Yep.
no,
Because
no, on
it's
so many
trained
levels.
on that, right?
Yeah.
So this is where you have power, Marie. I would actually respond to that and say that's a really masculine way of dealing with sales that may not actually work for a lot of people. This is how I would do it, and train it, like give it that information, because
Yeah.
then what it starts spitting out at the other end, it's now trained off your knowledge. Now, there's obviously IP there. You've got to consider, like, how much do I want to give away? But at the end
Yeah.
of the day, if you have any of this information on your website, now on your social media as well, AI's
Yeah.
got
It's
access to it.
scraping all of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Yes.
curious just to touch on what do you believe the difference between marketing and sales is?
Okay, so I believe, well, they're very intertwined. Like I kind of look at them as like a Venn diagram, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like they're separate, but they have
Crossover
very clear
elements.
overlaps.
Yeah.
You can't have one without the other,
Yeah.
because if you don't have your sales process in place, you
Mm.
can market, and then how do you get someone to actually make the sale? How do you ensure they go through that customer journey?
Yeah.
If you don't have the marketing in place, how do you know who you're speaking to in order to get the sale? So that's kind of how I see them, as different, but also with some crossover.
And do you feel like AI can help on both those elements?
Yes. But right now, there's a lot of people that are using it in ways that are the opposite of how they should do sales. So I think sales is the worst place that AI is being used right now.
Yes. This is why I wanted to have this conversation, because I was like, and someone was like, oh, really? But I hear you talk about like maybe AI is not right from a sales perspective. And I honestly believe that it can be used for it, but it can be it can be done really badly. And so I was like, come on, MG, let's chat
Yes.
through this stuff. So
Yeah.
tell me more.
I think the mistake that companies are making now, all the way up to, huge companies, is that they're relying on a sales bot to make the sale. What I think they should be doing is using AI in the background to manage parts of the sales process as opposed to the actual sales conversation. Because you can free up so much time with automations in the background, and that's all AI. So this is something I didn't know, is that I've been using AI for ages, because even my email automations from Kartra, that's AI. Like,
Yeah.
any machine learning, any automation is machine learning, but there's just so much more we can do now. So, for example, if someone has FAQs, like just about a product, sure, have an FAQ bot, but always have a human element. Like, if I can't answer your question, let me connect you with a human right now,
Yeah.
and make it really clear from the beginning, I am a bot. Don't pretend that you are a human. And then all of a sudden someone's like, gets to that point where they're like, oh, is this real or is it not? You know, don't, I saw someone share, I'll only ever get bots when they actually sound like humans. I'm like, don't do that, because the last thing you want is for someone to realize halfway through a conversation they're not even speaking to a human.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? You'd just
Yeah.
be like, fuck this, well, excuse my French, like, just, I'm out, you know? And I've seen that that's actually happening in one of the telecommunication companies in Australia.
Yeah.
They are using voice, like AI,
Yep.
to answer queries, but they're not telling you.
Ah.
And I'm like, I would well and truly cancel my account if I had a conversation and found that out, because you like that. So what they have got is they've got people in the Philippines not speaking, but pressing buttons to say this, say that, say this, say that. So they make it sound
Wow.
like you're speaking to someone in Australia, but it's actually someone in the Philippines just pushing buttons and not speaking.
And that's what I mean. Like, where do you draw the line of this is not okay? And how do they get to that point where they think that that is okay and that that is a good business decision?
Profit margins, right?
Oh,
Yeah. And I mean, look, I think
at
this
what
is,
cost? At what cost
yes,
to your brand and to your business?
exactly. And
Yeah.
I think the thing is, we can learn from these things, and we can learn from these conversations and mistakes. It's like any new technology. Any new technology can be used as a powerful tool or a weapon. And I'm not saying that, I mean, it's kind of weaponizing it when you pretend that you're an Australian when you're actually talking to someone in the Philippines pushing buttons. Like,
Yeah.
it's manipulative.
Mm.
So all of these things can be used. Social media, same thing. It can be used as a tool. It can be weaponized.
Yep.
And now we're getting more and more legislation around things in social media. The same is going to come with AI, but we're living through a phase of a bit of a shit show, really, at the moment, because it's a new technology that, I mean, the government is so behind with understanding technology anyway.
Yeah.
So for them to put in legislation is going to take time. And I do think this is also why we need to be using it, because you're more protected. If you understand how it works, you will be able to spot a scam
Yeah.
better
Knowledge is power for sure.
than if you are just like, I'm going to avoid and put my head in the sand here.
Yeah. So tell me, if someone's wanting to start out in AI and is curious about what is that first step or the best thing to do first, what would that look like? Like, they're obviously not going to go and build a whole bot.
Yeah.
Or are they? Is that what we're suggesting? I don't know. What do you?
Okay, so where I always suggest you start is working out what it is that you would love to be able to automate in your business or your life, or whatever area of you want to change things and make things easier for yourself.
Yeah.
Because there is currently, like at the moment, 17,000 AI tools out there. And if you just go, I'm going to just search for AI tools, you'll look at them all and be like, I don't know where to start. Just to be clear, though, probably 10,000 of those are based off ChatGPT, OpenAI.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have capitalized on the OpenAI platform being available, and they've built apps kind of as a framework around OpenAI. And then it's basically just ChatGPT trained in a certain way with certain instructions.
Yeah.
So the first thing I would do is get into ChatGPT and start playing. I am completely self-taught. I used YouTube clips. I searched, hey, I want to learn how to do this on ChatGPT. I watched a YouTube clip. I played. So swap your Netflix time for chat GPT time, play around with it.
Can't we do both? Can't we?
At the same time, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. My husband is always like, are we watching this? I'm like, nah, you can watch your zombie stuff. I'm just on chat GPT tonight.
Yeah. I love it.
Start there. But I want to say, and a lot of people don't realize this, especially in business, that AI is not just about making content, making words, and making visuals. That is actually the lowest layer of AI. That is the basics. Start there, obviously. But if you're thinking, I love writing and I love creating graphics and I blah, 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 so I don't want to do any of that, that is literally like the first layer. Beyond that, there is so much that AI does with workflows and automations to streamline the operations of your business.
Yeah.
And everyone needs that.
Which is what I'm excited about from an AI perspective, because I'm all about systems and making things more efficient. And as we were talking about before, women, we all wear 50 billion hats, not just from a business perspective, but also from an outside of business perspective, mum life, all of that too, right? And so from, the automations of systems and processes that we're doing on repeat, I think that's really, really powerful. Can you give me an example of where some of your clients have had huge success with AI and what it's done from a business point of view for them?
So my goal with the clients that I work with, particularly one-to-one, is to help them save 10 hours at least a week.
That's
now,
sexy.
I also want to do this through the least number of AI tools, because if you're then having to pay hundreds of dollars, I mean, look, it still works out cheaper than 10 hours of your time regardless.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of really affordable or free tools that can save you a lot of time. So for example, one of my clients that I worked with recently, she's like me, multiple things on the go. She's got a social media agency. She's got a content like UGC creation piece. She also helps other people manage their social media businesses as well. So she's got a lot of things on the go. So what we did is we streamlined her processes in every single one of those using things like Zapier.
Yeah.
And there's another one out there that not many people know about called Make. So we use that to just streamline a lot of her processes, including mainly her onboarding process, because that was something that took a lot of time and was different for each of her offers. And then she'd get kind of lost as to where different people were. So we set up an onboarding bot for all three of her offers. And that meant that as soon as someone signed up, the onboarding bot took them through the process and then gave her a message on WhatsApp once they were finished. So they signed up, they went through the process. She just gets a message to say, right, they're all done. And the next cool thing we did was the onboarding form they filled in. We got a workflow to read the onboarding form and summarize it for her and send her the email summary. So she could go back to the form, but before she jumps on their kickoff call with them, she's just got an email summary of the detailed description that they put in their form to get started. And then she can come back to the form if she actually feels like she needs a bit more information. So things like that have saving her a lot of time, but none of this is content creation. Like none of it.
Yeah.
It was not about, she loves that part of it, but you know what? It saves so much time for her then to really get into the creative space for content creation.
Yeah. And using those elements of her expertise and her knowledge where it's actually going to be more beneficial, right? Rather than focusing on just the onboarding side of it. Okay, cool.
And that's all part of the customer experience, right?
Absolutely, which is all part of your sales process too.
Exactly. So it matters a lot to be able to do that and have that done so well and in an interactive way, even though it's not with her one-on-one, so that she can really focus on the things she wants to do and does really well with her clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what do you think are the most common misconceptions about AI that you feel like if people just knew this element of it, their whole perspective on AI would change?
There's probably a few things that I've already that I've already covered. So the first one is that there's so many tools, I don't know where to start. And I think it's important to know that most of them are just based off OpenAI. So go and learn that. And then once you have an understanding of how it responds, you'll better use pretty much every AI tool. And I think the biggest one is I don't know where to start. But the other one is that it's just for content creation. It's just for words and images. And that really is not it. Like, that will save you time, sure, if that's something that takes you a lot of time. But what is possible with the automation and operation side of AI is actually where the majority of time in businesses is going to be changed and saved completely. Like, we're looking down the barrel of the first billion-dollar business that's solo operated.
Wow.
Because of
backed by AI.
All backed by AI, yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Because at an operational level, it can do that.
Yeah. So if it's not content creation, and we start with like looking at, say, for example, the onboarding or the sales, not the sales, the systems and the processes and the efficiency side of it. If there's people listening to this that are like the solopreneurs that maybe want to hit that $1 billion mark on their own.
I haven't hit that, by the way.
Yeah, no, neither have I, mate. Neither have I. But we're aiming for it. Absolutely. What would be those like 3 action steps that they could take to be like, right, MG told me to play with AI. I've got free chat GPT sitting down at my desk.
Yep.
What am I doing? What does that look like?
First step is to determine the tasks that you would like to be able to automate.
And how do we go about that?
Sit down on a day, normal business day, and everything you do, write it down. Just write down the tasks that you do in a day. Doesn't matter how small, menial they are, just write them down. And then throughout the day, anything that you think about, like say it's a Tuesday, but you do a podcast on a Monday, just write it down, podcast, write them all down. Then the next step number 2, is to break those tasks down into micro tasks. So I would just pick one, like say it's podcasting. I would just pick one that maybe takes up a lot of your time that you would love for it to be a lot quicker, a lot more streamlined, a lot more effective, and break it down. And when I say micro steps, you want to break it down into every little step that happens. So not just recording the podcast. It's like, okay, what needs to happen for you to record the podcast? You might need to do some research. You might need like every little bit, because every little part of that has the potential of being automated.
Yeah.
So that's the second step. And the third step is then with each of those to go, okay, if that could be automated, what would that look like? Because there's probably something out there that can help you to automate it. Now, once you start researching, you'll find a lot of things, and it's trial and error. Honestly, you will not get it right the first time. There will be mistakes. You do need to create space for this. Yeah. The thing that I will say to people is that if it can save you 10 hours a week, but you maybe give it a couple of months at the beginning where you're working an extra 10 hours to get this going for you, 10 hours a week works out to 17 work weeks a year for me.
Right.
Because I work 30 hours a week. And if you multiply that, if you do all the maths, it works out 17 work weeks a year for me.
Right.
And I'm like, if I can play around with this for a couple of months and then get 17 work weeks back.
Yeah.
It's absolutely worth it. Like, I have so often got people coming to me saying, I do not know how you do everything that you do, because I now have a marketing agency. I don't even know if I've told you this, Marie. I have an ads agency.
Yeah. We've spoken about it.
Yep. I'm still running my business and, doing consulting and coaching in my membership in there. I'm also launching a book with 22 incredible women in business this year. I've just booked 4 days away this weekend because I'm like, let's have a long weekend. I have got the time to do so much because so much of it happens automatically.
Yeah. And tell me, so I know you and I have spoken a lot about the biz revolution, and I've come in and helped some of your party people with some sales aspects of it. Tell me where AI fits in that membership for you, both from a front end point of view, like what you're helping your clients with, as well
Yes.
as the back end side of it of what you use AI for in your membership.
Yeah, well, and the Biz Revolution actually came about because of 12 months ago, me seeing this huge shift in the business industry. And also at the same time, a lot of people really struggling with cash flow. And it's gotten worse in the last 12 months as well. The economic crisis that we're all experiencing has meant that things like really high price coaching programs are out of reach for a lot of people, even privileged people. It's still it's out of reach. We have to reprioritize. But at the same time, AI has been growing. And I thought, what if AI can actually help fix this problem for small business? Because yes, we may not have the same cash flow, but we can have automations that allow us to do more with the cash flow that we have. And I started this without even really knowing what that meant, but I just went in, threw myself in the deep end, and it forced me to learn things, obviously, as well. And so now, 12 months down the track, we have got 5 marketing bots set up for the Biz Revolution that have different purposes. I've learned the hard way that you need to really specify their individual purposes rather than try and have one big conglomerate bot that does it all. It's better if they have one job. So like we have a viral hooks Viv who's trained on like thousands of viral TikToks, because TikTok is where all the hooky hooks are, we've got a 90-day plan Nina, who takes you basically through, I've got a 90-day planning workbook. She takes you through it conversationally and creates your 90-day marketing plan. We've got content queen Carrie, who gets all of your content pillars, your offers, your business, what you're currently wanting to achieve in your content, and helps to create content at each layer of your funnel, things like that. So we've been able to create that, and now members of the Biz Revolution get access to that, but they also get access to trainings on how to create those things for their own business, because it's actually not that hard.
Yeah, I think it's the overwhelm at the start that kind of kicks that in. And I know that you and I had conversations even before I kicked off with her sales club, because we both found that there was that need of it. You don't need to pay millions of dollars to be able to get certain help within your business. And us as the white privileged females that we are, of like, well, who are we to tell everyone that they've got to pay us millions of dollars to get that help that all of us need to grow their business? And so I love that we both started that with the same intentions of like, just let me help you. Just come on in. It's cost effective. It's community focused.
And it's scalable. So at the end of the day, for me, what it's meant is that I actually have more time for one-on-one, which I love. Like I kept being told, you can't keep doing one-on-one if you want to scale. But I love it. It's like I really love getting into someone's business and feeling like I individually have such a huge impact. But I know not everyone can afford that. So I can scale the Biz Revolution and help a lot of people. And there's a lot of resources, and there's the community is amazing, because even if I haven't had a chance to get in and answer a question, like, we've got startups all the way to multiple 7-figure businesses in there. Like it's such a beautiful community. And then I get this time to have, like these interviews and share this stuff and have one-on-ones with people and spend hours going down rabbit holes of AI tools that I haven't yet discovered. And there's like 3,000 that come out a day. I'm going, oh my God.
Must get up at 4 a.m. to learn AI.
My business partner does that. Like I'm not a early morning person. So she's crazy. She's up at 4 a.m. doing stuff like that. But yeah, and when you're excited about it and you can see the potential, you find space for it, but then AI can provide the frameworks to create that space.
Awesome. And if someone wants to know more about the Biz Revolution and how they can implement AI into their business, what would that look like?
They just go to thebizrevolution.com, and we might need to spell that on your show notes perhaps, because
yes, absolutely.
It's a new word.
Yeah. That's okay. We'll have it all in the notes anyway. But tell us why they would join it. Like, sell it to us.
Oh my gosh, like pressure. Sell it to the sales strategist.
Sell it to the sales chick.
So the Biz Revolution is for women in business who, am I allowed to swear? Because I swear on my sales page. I've already sworn. Who want to get shit done and make more money. So we're about working smarter, not harder. because we are women that are wearing all the hats. So we need things like AI systems, streamlined marketing and sales processes so that we can make more money in less time.
Yeah.
I have recently found out that 90% of women in Australia are not making six figures in business. So only 10%. And I want to expand that 10%.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I think six figures is the minimum we should be making in business. We don't need to make seven figures. Like, I know there's a lot of coaches that are like, woo, let's go for seven figures. Like, but if you're making less than six figures in business in a year, then you're really going to be paying yourself basically minimum wage once you take out tax, expenses.
Super. Yeah, all of it.
And I'm not okay with that, because there is enough of a gender gap. And this is something I'm very passionate about, is that women, we've, been given more opportunities, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Just tell how I feel about it. Blah, blah, blah. We've been given all these opportunities.
Yeah.
But we're expected to do everything, and we somehow don't get paid for most of those things that we do, like having children and taking that time off. So yeah, I want every woman in business to be making six figures, at least, in their business, not 90% not making it. That blows my mind.
And this is what, like, I feel like you and I connect so passionately about. It's like when people come to me and be like, I want to make more money in my business. I'm like, great. How much are we earning at the moment? How much do you want to be earning? Because there's a lot of numbers between a six-figure business and a seven-figure business, right? Like, you can have high-end six-figure business, or you can have low-end seven-figure businesses. Like, there's such a big scale on that. But so many women are like, oh, I just want to do it to help more people, and I want to do it to make a bigger impact. I'm like, great. What do we need to do to make impact and income? Yes. Because otherwise you literally may as well go and work for someone else. Business is hard. Business has, like, I had a day this week where I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. Everything felt hard. Everything felt overwhelming. Like, it was just so full on that I thought, I just want to go and live on the dole and learn to surf. I can't surf, and I'd be bored within half a day.
And you'd have time to learn, right?
Yeah. And so
I have days like that too, Marie.
Yeah. And so I was like, and it lasted for probably an hour, and I got in and I was talking to some other people about it. And I thought, how many women live that constantly? And they think, I've just got to get here. And I was like, if I can just help more of those women know how to sell it.
Yes.
So you with the marketing side of it, me with the sales side of it, of like, make them a happy marriage, gangbusters. I think it's freaking brilliant.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I've just noticed that behind you have impact and income, like right above your head, like an angel halo right there. And it's so true. And the thing about women making money is that when women make money, it goes further. Like, we are natural multipliers. If you give a woman $500, she makes it go way further than a man. He just puts it towards a boat. The boat is not there yet. It's just,
I was like, what boat are you getting for $500?
Yeah, no, it puts it towards a boat, right? Like, he's got the steering wheel. And women also give back and don't hoard money. So, this is not just me making shit up. Like, there is stats to back this up, that when women have more money, they give a lot of it back. We're already giving back in the Biz Revolution, because every time someone comes to a session, we are partnered with Big One, which gives back to different organizations worldwide that are working towards the UN goals.
Yep.
And so every time someone comes to a session, they get to choose who the Biz Revolution donates to. Awesome. Now, I mean, I love doing that, and I'm not saying that men wouldn't do that, but more women are doing that than men. So we need to give women the tools to be able to succeed in terms of income, because it helps create more impact.
Absolutely. We give a percentage of our profits over to a local domestic violence shelter, because
I've seen you talk about that too. Yes.
Yeah. And even for me, it goes back to that privilege side of life. I've always been little Miss Independent, of like sorting out my own finances, and my man's not a plan and all that sort of rubbish that goes with it. But I could never imagine being that woman with kids and thinking, I don't know where our next meal's coming from. I don't know where, I don't have a safe place. Like, that sort of stuff gets me so emotional. And I feel like I've been given such a skill and a talent to show people to make money, that I also get to use the money that I make for a really positive impact on the world. And to show, like, I'm raising boys, I know you're raising girls, but I also want my kids to know that they live a really freaking privileged life too. And so for them, I want them to understand that not everyone lives the life that we do. And so you can do good in anything.
Yeah.
But I think the money side of it needs to also be there as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, money is, I hate it, but money is what makes the world go round. It's what causes wars, and it's also what creates happiness and, the foundational health and foundational stability and everything in our lives. So it's something that is really important. But women are also very conditioned to just want to please others and, be the good person and all that. So therefore that's why it is more about, I want to make impact. I want to help people. But really, you can only help people if you are yourself stable enough to be able to help people. Therefore, you've got to be making six figures, because just the cost of living right now, if you are a single person trying to live off less than six figures, how do you afford housing? How do you afford food? Let alone if you're a single mother, like.
Yeah. Hard work, very hard work. Well, my lovely MG, thank you so much for today's chat. I've absolutely freaking loved it, because this sort of stuff for me is the real juicy stuff of business. And I always say that I'm very big on living life by design, and I love these deep, real conversations. There's no half-assing it. There's no scooting around the main issues. Like, you and I dig deep, we go hard, we play hard. So I've absolutely loved you having here. I will pop all the notes, all the details of Em and how you can get in contact with her, and check out the Biz Revolution. It's absolutely amazing with what you're doing out there. And it's been an absolute pleasure. So thank you so much for joining us today on the Sales Show.
Thank you so much. That was a fun conversation. I hope everyone enjoyed the ride.
Love it. Thanks, gorgeous. I'm going to record this. Just for my own brain.
Yeah, that's all right. For your own brain, because otherwise you're like, what did you say?
Yeah. Pregnancy in the brain's not, they're not working.
Data Debbie takes you through that process. And then if, like, for example, I went through it and I said, I want to know what to post on Instagram that would be better based on data. And she's like, okay, well, these are the 5 pieces of data I need, like engagement rate, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, how do I get that information? And she said, okay, go to Instagram, click on this, do that, and then download this and attach it. Because in ChatGPT, the paid version, you can upload files.
Yeah. You can do that in the free version as well, I think.
Yes, but it will only do a certain amount of work at the GPT 4.0 level. So you'll get bottlenecked at some point.
Okay, yeah.
So, I mean, that would work for things like her sales club, doing it in GPT. But for Qantas or like bigger organizations, they're going to want something that's not on there.
Yeah.
Probably just because they'll be concerned about privacy, whereas really it's no different. But
yes. But I also want it to be like a standalone.
Yes. Yeah.
In a box. Yeah.
Yeah, which you definitely could create through something like probably voice flow.
Oh, yeah. That's the other one you told me about before as well, right?
Yeah. Voice flow is an option. And the thing is, you can play with voice flow and set up a couple of things in there for free. So you'd be able to do that and test it out and see how it goes. Or bot press, but I reckon voice flow is better than bot press. But bot press seems to be something
as in BOT.
Yeah, bot press.
Yeah.
It's like WordPress, but bot press.
Yeah.
There's a lot of techies that know bot press, so then it's easy to find people to do bot press.
Yeah.
But there's certain elements, like, so one of the things that I think would be useful for this process is that if the bot remembers what the data was from the previous month.
Yes.
And voice flow will do that.
Yeah.
So voice flow can then go, okay, so this is what's happening this month, but then this is what happened last month. So we are also seeing a trend here, and analyze the data that way.
And so, random question, how do you ensure, say, for example, how do I future proof? What if bot press goes down?
Okay, so what you can do is once you've created the bot, you can download a CSV file with all of the information, and you would just have that and have it backed up.
Okay.
Yeah, and then so we started some of our bots on BotPress and we moved them across to VoiceFlow.
Yeah.
So that's what we did is you download it and you move it across.
Yeah.
Okay. It's got all the coding. Like I don't understand the coding. I feel like I've started to get a bit of a grasp of what certain terms mean, and but
how different is the coding from like website coding?
I don't know because I don't know website coding either.
Oh, I know website coding. I know I'm not an expert at it, but I self-taught from a little while ago.
Yeah. If you know website coding, like you'll probably have more knowledge than a lot of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically what you're wanting is like a knowledge base and which has got the information that you want them to get on the other end.
Yeah.
So like this is what you need, and it would be that knowledge base is basically just a document that has overall like the outcomes that for different layers of the sales process. So it might be like what you recommend for this problem, what you recommend for that problem, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then they don't see the knowledge base, but the bot draws upon the knowledge base before it draws upon anything else.
Yep.
And like, for example, you can have websites in that knowledge base. So you can say, if this is the outcome, send them this website. If this is the outcome, send them this website.
Because I just think that there's like, I was talking to someone at Qantas over the weekend, not the weekend, last Monday, and she was saying, our sales are down in the corporate space. I don't know whether it's a team thing. I don't know whether they need more leads. I don't know whether they're just.
Yeah. How do they not have someone in there working that shit out?
Well, they do, but what tends to happen is they have people that are trying to do 50 billion other things. It's like when people go, oh, the sales manager should also be training the team, but the sales manager is doing data and fucking management and all the other shit. And so it's like, what if I could give you this in a box tool that said, great, so these are your stats from last month.
Yeah.
If your targets are here, what do you need to do to get here based on everything that you filled out in that tool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and that could be a huge, highly valuable asset.
Yeah. That's what I thought. And I was like, this all came to me like sitting down having breakfast, and I was like, this is bigger than what I thought it like.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of potential. I would do like a dummy run with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So what you can do, and I mean, this is something maybe we could do like a one-on-one session and actually do it together. Yeah. So I could show you, because there's a way to set up a custom GPT that tells it like what order to have the conversation. So it's like, ask this question, then this question. So it gives a flow without you needing to draw out the flow, and it's quite intuitive. It works really well. Like I'm blown away with how well it works.
Yeah.
And then look at the data and then give advice and base the advice off the knowledge base.
Yeah.
And that way you can, by doing that, you'll have a really good idea of the process, and then you could give that GPT to a developer
to build out
and say, this is what I'm wanting to create, but on like a, behind a paywall on a piece of custom. It doesn't need to be custom software, but it just needs to look like it's custom.
Yeah.
Like you would have a name for this, and it would be on a URL for a certain, So I feel like that would be a good way to go, because you need a prototype.
How much information do I need to have before I do that? Like I'm talking this dropped in like on Sunday morning, and then I've had like life in between, right? So I'm just like, but I also don't want
And you're about to have a baby, Marie.
Shh, that's irrelevant. But I also feel like it's come at a perfect time, because I've allowed the other business stuff to run on its own a little bit more, and I'm like, I'm so okay to sit down and let it.
Space.
Yeah, like. Well, there's going to be a lot of like downtime, breastfeeding time of,
Yeah, 2 a.m. Oh, let's play with something.
Yeah, let's have a little bit of think about how that would work. Yeah.
So what you would need is you would need to be really clear on all stages of that workflow. Like, what are the questions what's the data that needs to go in the beginning? And what is the outcome? And what would be the steps in between that either that if it was a human, the human would do?
Yeah, which that human's normally me.
Yes, right. So it's just getting clear on what each of those little steps are, because that would then become the instructions that you give the bot.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other thing is, the outcomes, like what do they then get at the end of going through this process? Where are they, what is it sending them?
Like, I want it to be like 3 to 5 actionable steps.
I mean, that's 3 to 5 actionable steps based on a knowledge base. So you would also need to, like, for it to work effectively, you'd need to have the knowledge base ready, but you can add to it. So like, you could still set up the framework without all of the pieces, because you can change it once you've set it up. You can change it, test it, and go, oh, actually it needs a bit more. Like, so that's what I've been doing with some of these bots I've set up, is I've gone through them and I've realized, they still use American English, or have I frozen?
No.
Or are we good? Okay, cool. You had frozen for a second there.
Oh, sorry.
On a face like
this makes a big difference.
Yeah, of course. Now I know you're there.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't need all of those pieces to be really in depth, but you do need the pieces, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think that's that's my next step of like post-it note, brain dump.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. I mean, I know, like, I've obviously got people that I talk to a lot around AI, and they do a lot of their stuff on the whiteboard on Canva. They draw out their workflows there.
Okay.
But I just use pen and paper. I
use pen and paper, and then I lucid chart it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I think you've got to, because for me to start off with, it is very, like, visual. Or I use my Remarkable, like, because then you can
Remy
move things around easily as well. So
yeah,
post-it notes are good.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, awesome. Well, I've only got a few things to do. I mean, whatever, building an empire, whatevs. All good. Thank you so much. I will book in.
I love the idea, because it becomes a product. Sorry, we seem to now have like some internet brain farts going on.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, and it was like over the past, I think when we caught up for lunch, we were talking about like the financial aspects and stuff like that. I met with a estate planner, and she was like, what happens to your business if you die? And I was like, fuck. Yeah. And so I was like, what do I need to do to create things that create wealth for my family, whether I'm here or not, whether I'm working or not?
Yeah.
And yeah, I literally had, no word of a lie, probably 17 baths over the weekend, looking out over the city in the Sofitel.
Yeah.
And I was reading, and I was like playing, like, just what would this look like? Dreaming. And then this thing dropped in on Sunday at breakfast, and I was like, holy shit. I was like, okay, this could be, I could sell this stuff as like as
a product. It's a done for you product that then, absolutely.
It could service small business all the way through to the Qantases.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a bit sexy.
That's awesome. It's so exciting. And when we had our lunch, do you remember me saying, oh, my business isn't profitable and I'm not worried about it? Do you remember me saying that?
Yeah. And you also saying, I don't know about our finances. Like, hubby works it all out or whatever. And I was like, come on, man.
Yeah. So a lot of that, all of that has now changed. And I had to get rid of profit because I had too much fucking.
Oh, yeah. That's donations and stuff work beautifully for that.
Yeah. Obviously it's already passed now, but I did quite a bit. And I had a tax planning session with my accountant, and was like, you know what? And it's the first time in 7 years in business that I've had a tax planning meeting with my accountant.
Who's your accountant? I've literally just fired mine.
Oh, really? Okay. So, I love my accountant, Vicky. Her name's Vicky. She's Indian, Vicky Krishmathy, but her business is Glide Accounting.
Right. Accounting. Yep.
So she specifically works with women in small business. Like
Yep.
that's her jam. She loves it. And like, so I quite often just pay for half an hour of consulting with her to go through stuff so I can understand. It's $160 for half an hour, and she just gives you so much.
Does she do your BAS tax, all that?
Everything.
Yep.
Everything. The other person, and the only reason I don't use this person is because she's actually a friend of mine. And I just like to keep these things a little bit separate.
Yeah,
So
I get that.
Diana Todd from Balance Tax. I reckon you would love her. Yeah, I'm thinking we might actually put our agency through her, because we haven't even got an accountant yet. We need to do that now. So she's just like the most incredible woman and very holistic in her approach. And same thing, she loves working with women in business. She's the accountant expert in the Biz Revolution.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Because
they've won like accountant firm of the year multiple times.
I just find that I need someone that's a little bit ballsy that can take me to where I want to go, but also guide me from a business structure strategy side of it.
Yeah.
Where the other lady was like, okay, so if you want to get to here, what you're going to need to do is really increase your sales. And the best way to do that is, bitch, stay in your lane. That's all that went through my head. I was like, no. And then I think she overcharged me, and we got into this awkward space.
I reckon Diana then, because she's built multiple businesses, not just her accounting.
Okay,
firm.
cool. Is she WA based?
She is, yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, she is. She's from America originally, but yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, I'll check her out.
Yeah, Balance Tax. She's got a beautiful team of women. I actually was co-working in their space when we were living with the in-laws and they're waiting to move into this house, and they like just hearing the way they all connected with each other and worked together was so beautiful to watch, because I know like so many of these small firms, especially filled with women, they just have bitchiness.
I don't think I don't know. I don't realize that bitchiness and politics until
you're out of it.
Yeah, I know. And you go, fuck it.
When you're not in there. And it's only when I do stuff like that, or I chat with friends, or, like going to a mediation meeting with one of my girlfriends who, just was like, I'll be there, with you. And I'm just like, fuck, man, I'm so glad I don't have to work with anyone I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm like, like even those days, as I said to you, those shit days that I had where I call them go and work at Woolworths days.
Mine's the post office.
Yeah, I love it. And I just think, I don't think I'd want to go back there anyway. Like,
no, yeah, it's like the grass is greener. You're like, oh yeah, that would be good. And then you're like, actually,
no,
would it?
No. And that's what one of my clients I was talking to when I was having that moment. And she was like, no, you'd have like, oh, my boss is such a dick moment. So I was like, oh, yeah, I remember those days too.
Yeah, that's why I left, right? Like that was what pushed me out of teaching, was my boss. He was the biggest.
Yeah. Same with mine. And he used to, like, I built out and rolled out products Australia-wide into like Fitness First, major gyms, all this sort of stuff. And he got up saying, look at everything I've done. And I was like, fuck you. Yeah. But now I consult to that company anyway. So they pay me over 10 times what they used to, dickheads. Whatever. Yeah. So anyway, all right. I'll love you and leave you. Thank you so much for your time and energy. Beautiful. I really appreciate you.
We'll chat soon.
We'll book in for a one-on-one. I just don't want to get there without more energy.
No, absolutely. Send me a message and I'll give you the link for the Biz Revolution one-on-one so that you can, I think it's $333, and that way we can just, it's an hour, we can smash it out.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thanks, gorgeous.
All right.
Catch you soon. Bye.